Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He serves on the Oversight and Intelligence Committees and chairs the subcommittee on economic and consumer policy. Congressman, thank you for being back on the show.
Hey, happy Labor Day, Allie.
Thank you. You as well, sir. So how do you interpret this latest Dejoy news?
Well, it's deeply concerning, and it just adds to the questions of why he wasn't vetted in the first place. During my questioning of the chair of the board of the USPS, his name is Mike Duncan. Mike Duncan basically confirmed that Mr. Dejoy was not even one of the 53 finalists presented to the board for further consideration in the first go-around. It would be like a basketball team not qualifying for the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament and then swooping into the Sweet 16 for further interviews and consideration, which is what happened here. And so I think that given all the very troubling accusations with regard to Mr. Dejoy, I think that he should resign or be replaced, because we're in a situation where going 2 months before the election, and we still don't have reassurance that the mail is going to be delivered on time, including mail-in ballots and other materials.
So where do you see this? And let me point this out. North Carolina's Attorney General has tweeted, "It is against the law to directly or indirectly reimburse someone for a political contribution. Any credible allegations of such actions merit investigation by the appropriate state and federal authorities." So where do you want to see this go next?
Well, I think that the appropriate state authorities in North Carolina, such as the Attorney General Stein and others, should investigate. And if the statute of limitations have not run at the federal level, of course, the Justice Department should investigate. But, Hallie, I mean, this is so distracting from the central mission of the USPS right now, which is to deliver the mail on time. And after his questioning and his appearance and his swagger and his arrogance at the hearing just 10 days ago, I'm just concerned that he's not laser focused on making sure that my constituents and others get their mail on time. We are still getting reports. A veteran called in the other day after having undergone an organ transplant, saying that his post-operative medicines have not arrived yet. This is a life and death issue, Allie, and instead we're deeply distracted by all of these other issues swirling around the Postmaster General. So I think he should go.
And you are, other of your colleagues as well have recommended and encouraged and called for Dejoy to resign. You mentioned, obviously, the importance of mail-in ballots in general. That is something that actually somebody who used to work very closely with President Trump talked about in a new interview with my colleague Lester Holt. I'm talking about Michael Cohen, the president's former attorney. He sat down with Lester for this exclusive interview, Congressman, and I want to play for you a little bit of what Cohen had to say.
Do you think he'll win another term as president?
So Donald Trump will do anything and everything within which to win. And I believe that includes manipulating the ballots. I believe that he would even go so far as to start a war in order to prevent himself from being removed from office. My biggest fear is that there will not be a peaceful transition of power in 2020.
Do you think he's right, Congressman?
I'm concerned because, you know, Mr. Trump's personal lawyer is Michael Cohen. He knows where the bodies are buried because he buried those bodies. And he knows Mr. Trump, unlike many other people. And so we should definitely be concerned about what he's saying and take precautions because of it.
Bernie Sanders, a senator obviously over on the other side of Congress, is also raising concerns about the president potentially resisting leaving office if he loses. Sanders says now is the time to prepare, including through congressional hearings with local officials about their plans for Election Day and after that. Do you agree, and would you support holding hearings on this in the House?
Absolutely. I'm very concerned about our upcoming elections and election security, as well as the Trump administration's refusal to give us in-person briefings, even members of the House Intelligence Committee, with regard to how we're going to guard election security coming up here.
Congressman, we're almost out of time, but I want to ask you quickly about your subcommittee opening its own investigation into federal contracts negotiated by Peter Navarro, of course, the White House trade advisor. That comes after the Trump administration canceled most of its nearly $650 million ventilator contract with Royal Phillips. You criticized that contract as the outcome of incompetent negotiating. To be clear, not not corruption in the contracts, but you called it incompetence. What other contracts will you be looking at? What else can you tell us about where this goes?
Well, that's one of the inquiries we've made, which is what is the universe of contracts that Mr. Navarro has actually negotiated? Because as my committee had indicated, he completely botched the negotiation of this contract to the tune of over $500 million in wasteful spending. I'm glad that the administration canceled this ventilator contract. However, we want to know what else is out there in terms of wasteful spending on other pandemic procurement efforts. And we're hoping that he appears before us on September 16th in our subcommittee. He's been going on the Fox News circuit talking about this ventilator contract, but I think it's time that he appear before the American public and explain himself.
Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, thank you very much for joining us on this Labor Day with those headlines.